Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be overreacting to the first week of the NBA season. It's crazy that we're already 1 week in to the NBA season, but we are. I'm going to go through every single NBA team, so your team will be talked about today. We're going to go through everybody, overreact to some of the things I've seen so far for every team, and that's what we're doing here today. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really upset a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitters, all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So we're gonna go from best record to worst record. So we're talking about the best teams so far. We're gonna trickle our way down to the worst teams. We're start with the Boston Celtics, who are 4-0, and they look dominant, absolutely dominant. They look like they have a chip on their shoulder right now. I mean, they were the best team in the regular season last year. Only lost 3 games in their championship run last year. Still was being disrespected the entirety of that season and the off season, all of it. And it looks like they're coming into this season with a chip on their shoulder as the reigning champs, and are saying, "All right, we're just gonna do it again. You don't believe us, or you still don't believe we're a good team? Okay, let's show you." We're 4-0. They've been dominant everywhere on both sides, offensively, defensively. They have been elite. They've been destroying teams. I mean, the only game that made it that they're really in was the Detroit Pistons game. The Detroit Pistons are the only team that gave them the big fight. Everything else has just been dominance all around, you know. And Jason Tatum is having an MVP-like year. If the season we're in right now, Jason Tatum would be my MVP. I mean, he's been phenomenal, giving you 28.5 points, almost 7 rebounds, 5.5 assists on 51, 42, 70 shooting splits. He's been absolutely phenomenal so far this season. Looks like, willing his way to the basket. 3-point shot is back. His passing ability, he's been amazing so far. And the Celtics from 3 have been absolutely elite, which is why they've been just dominating. I mean, they're taking 53s per game and shooting 42% from 3. They're first in 3-pointers attempted and 3-point percentage. That's not normal. That's not normal to happen. Like, they've just been absolutely dominating. Everyone looks really good. Payne Pritchard has been amazing coming off the bench. And they're doing all this without Kristaps Porzingis has not played a second of basketball yet, and he's not going to play for a while. And they're still looking this dominant. So imagine when Porzingis, an all-star type player, comes back. It looks scary. It looks really scary for everybody else in the regular season because Boston is just running through everybody. Next, go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're also 4-0, and they look really good as well. Didn't make any changes in the offseason. Brought in a new coach in Kenny Atkinson, and they look amazing. They're top 5 offense and defense. We know what the defense is going to do. We know that the Cavaliers, their defense has been really good, but their offense has been amazing. They're number 2 offense right now. They're putting up a bunch of points. Now, 3 of their 4 wins have been against the Pistons, Wizards, and Raptors. 3 teams that have combined for 2 wins right now, but still dominating them like they should be. And the New York Knicks game that happened the other day was a very big game, and they came out and won this game. It wasn't the prettiest game or anything like that, but when they needed runs and needed shots to go down and needed to lock in, they locked in. Darius Garland had an amazing fourth quarter. He's been very good so far this season. He looks really improved. Evan Mobley has looked very improved, just a lot more confident on the offensive end. We already know what Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen are going to do. The bench has been good. They've been doing this without Max Strus, who's a starter. Dean Wade has had to be a starter, and he's been very good. Karis Sever has had some good minutes. Ty Jerome has had some good minutes off the bench. Everything on this Cavs team is clicking right now. Everything is clicking. The offense, the defense, and again, we're overreacting to everything. But if the Cavaliers are playing this type of level on offense, they're going to win a lot of regular season games, and they're going to be a very, very hard team. They might be creeping up on that contender tier if the offense is playing like this. Next, we go to the OKC Thunder. They are 3-0, the last undefeated team. Looks like the number 1 seed is incoming. I mean, they're coming into this season. Everybody thought they were going to be the number 1 seed again, and right now it looks like it. Everything is clicking. The defense has been elite. The defense has been amazing. They're the number 1 defense in the league right now by a little bit of a margin. They've been absolutely locked in on that end defensively, just getting a lot of deflections, a lot of steals, playing good one-on-one defense. Everything has just been there defensively for the Thunder. And yeah, they're running through teams right now. And Shea and Chet, lock those 2 into the All-Star game. Shea, we already know, yeah. Chet Holmgren is an All-Star. He's been phenomenal. I mean, he's been doing so many great things on both ends of the ball. Offensively, has just been dominant, has been just making easy shots. The three ball hasn't even been falling yet. Yeah, he's still giving you some really good production on the offensive end because he just knows how to get to the rim and score, get in easy spots, and make shots. And then defensively, he's just on another level. He's on another level defensively. Like, season we're in right now, he's my defensive player of the year. Like, he is just been locking in defensively, you know. And yeah, those two are all stars. J Dub has been really good as well. And also interesting, they're not really afraid to change up the starting lineup. I think every game they've had a different guy at the two. It started with Isaiah Joe. I think it was Case and Wallace for the Bulls game. Then it was Aaron Wiggins last game. And it just shows Mark Daniel is not afraid. It's like, all right, this early part in the season, you guys are going to have to compete. You know, whoever's my best number two, go in, and we're going to try everybody out and see how it looks, you know. Doing all this also without Isaiah Hartenstein in there as well. Maybe they're doing that because they know Isaiah Hartenstein's going to come back and he's going to be the 5. Or, honestly, the way Chet Holmgren's playing right now, I don't think Isaiah Hartenstein needs to start on this team. He could take his time and come off the bench, really, because this Thunder team has just been lights out, especially on the defensive end. Now we'll go to some 3-1 teams. Start with the Golden State Warriors. They are 3-1. Very interested to see how this season went for the Warriors. No Klay Thompson. A lot of people not really putting a lot of respect on the Golden State Warriors, thinking this is going to be a bad year. I had them as like the 10 seed in the play-in, but it's been really good. They're a top 3 offense and a top 3 defense. They've been efficient. Now, their 2 of their 3 wins were against the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trail Blazers, 2 very bad teams, but they did beat the Pelicans last night without Stephen Curry, which is a big, big step. So many guys have been stepping up. Buddy Hield has been leading the team in scoring. He's been absolutely on fire. Andrew Wiggins looks like Andrew Wiggins might be back. Andrew Wiggins has given them some really good production so far. He's giving you 18 points, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block on 55, 58, 80 shooting splits. So he looks like he's back. Steph has even really gone nuclear in his games. He doesn't have to. Moses Moody is giving them some solid minutes. Brett Vajemski's doing his thing, even though he's not shooting the ball well. Tracy Jackson-Davis, Lindy Waters has been giving some good minutes, especially last night against New Orleans. The only thing that hasn't really been great for the Warriors is Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga, so far in his 4 games, is averaging 10 points and 3 rebounds on 37, 16, 68 shooting splits. He also had lost his starting job in the last game against the Pelicans. So, yeah, he has not been great, which is tough because, obviously, you know, coming into a contract year and a year where a lot of people thought he could be a candidate for most improved player, he has not had a good start. But the good thing is he has 78 more games to be better. So that's the good thing. But right now, Kuminga just hasn't really looked right. Like, he just feel like it's still trying to find his way and find his role on this team. There's a lot more to go so he can get better. But right now, that's not looking good. But the Warriors in general, looking pretty good. Next, we go to the LA Lakers, also 3-1. I mean, this looks like a completely different team, which is crazy because they have the same exact roster basically as last year. But this looks like a whole new team. I mean, the offense, the way it's been playing has been great. The movement, the plays, everything has looked better. New habits as well. It doesn't look like the old Laker team where you kind of see what's going to happen or know what's going to happen and know the script for the Lakers. Now it's not. It's not. It's been a whole lot more people stepping up. The offense looks, you know, under control. It hasn't been LeBron. LeBron hasn't really done much. The only thing LeBron's really done is he had that big 16 points in the fourth quarter against the Kings to put the game away. Besides that, LeBron hasn't really had to do much, and they're 3-1. That's not something you can say probably ever in his Laker tenure, you know. And Anthony Davis has been playing like an MVP. I mean, right now my vote would be Jason Tatum. Anthony Davis is a very, very close second right behind him, leading the league in scoring. He's giving you 32 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steals, 2.5 blocks, shooting 55% from the field and 80% from the free throw line on almost 13 attempts. That is insane. Insane stuff. I mean, they're putting him in a great position. Right now, he's just a lot of movement to get him one-on-one down low in the paint, face-ups, post-ups, getting to the free throw line. We know what he does defensively. He's been locked in from there. And right now, J.J. Redick might be coach of the year right now. If the season were to end, J.J. Redick right now would be coach of the year. Because the Lakers, this looks like a completely new team for the Lakers. And honestly, for me personally, they're creeping up on contender tier. Like, we're overreacting. Again, obviously, overreacting. But if they keep playing like this is the team that we're going to get for the Lakers. They might be contenders. Next, we go to the Phoenix Suns, are also 3-1. Also brought in a new coach, Mike Budenholzer, and they also looking pretty good. We know what KD and Booker are going to do. Bradley Beal has been very solid as well. Gotten a lot of people to step up, especially the rookies. Ryan Dunn, their late first round pick, has been a staple in the rotation. Needs to be a staple in the rotation. Defensively, we know what he's capable of defensively. He's been that so far. But the 3-point shot has been falling. Like, he was a guy that in Virginia and stuff, you were like, all right, defensively he's good. Offensively, I don't know what we're gonna get. Are we gonna get anything from him on the offensive end? Can you figure out what is he on the offensive end? And so far, he's been a great 3-point shooter, which is not something we would have expected coming in early, but he is. And right now, if he's playing like this, he's a staple in the rotation. The point guard play, you could tell the difference already. And Brandon Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, just things look better on the offensive end. Things are set up a lot more nice, and it's also helping get all the other players involved as well. The only bad thing really about the Suns so far is Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic has been pretty bad. The game against the Lakers where they won, he was a minus 25 in a game that they won, or minus 23, something like that. Mason Plumlee did not take a shot, and he was light years better than Yusuf Nurkic. Think about that. Mason Plumlee did not take a shot in that game, yet was so much better than Yusuf Nurkic. Kevin Durant has been playing the 5 because Yusuf Nurkic has just been that bad. And the thing is, I don't really know how they get rid of that. I mean, who's trading for Yusuf Nurkic? I don't know, unless you're attaching a pick or something to that. And, I mean, I guess you just put him on the bench and let Mason Plumlee start, let also Iguodala start. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. But the Suns have some good things going on over there. Now we're going to the Dallas Mavericks, also 3-1. The reigning Western Conference champions have been pretty good to start. Klay Thompson is fitting in. That was one of the biggest offseason acquisitions, was Klay Thompson coming into Dallas. And so far, he has fit in very, very nicely. Getting some of the best looks he's gotten in a very, very long time. Hitting so many big shots for them. Last night against Minnesota wasn't a great offense. Wasn't a great game for him, but was still good. Defensively, he's been there as well. This is the best I've seen him look defensively since the injuries, honestly. Like, he had a clutch stop on Anthony Edwards last night in the Minnesota Timberwolves game, and he has been fitting in really nicely. Derek Lively has been great as well. Just an interior monster. I mean, defensively in the interior, he's been just doing everything. And then he gets so many rebounds, especially in that Minnesota game. He got so many rebounds where there was like 2-3 people on him. He just went up and just grabbed it. Like, Derek Lively's been really good. Defensively, they've been really good as well. Top 10 defense right now, which is the key to the Mavericks, especially when you have the offensive talent that they have. And last night was just a showcase of that, because Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic just hit so many crazy shots. There was 2 shots in that fourth quarter, one from each of them, that were just like, what can you do? Kyrie Irving hit one at the top of the key. I think maybe Julius Randle was guarding him. I don't know. I think it was a switch. And Kyrie just like, Dude was right in his face. He just pulled up, knocked it down. And then Luka had that clutch one near half court where he just threw it up over Nickeil Alexander-Walker and it went in. And it's like, you can't do anything about that. That's Luka Doncic to Kyrie Irving. You can't do anything. So, yeah, the Mavericks are in a good spot. Next 3-1 team is the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic, I was interested to see them coming into this season because obviously they went from being like a nobody, nothing type team to being the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference and being 1 win away from the second round. And when you have that big type of jump, the second year is always the most important year because that's when we're really going to see, okay, how real is this team? And so far, right now, they're passing that test. They look like a real team. Paolo Banchero looks like playing all-NBA type basketball. I mean, had a 50, 13, and 9 game against the Pacers. That was just absolutely electric. He's been really good to start this season. Looks a lot better than last year, which is crazy considering he had a really good season last year. And right now, Paolo Banchero looks like an all-NBA team member. If he's playing like this, he's going to make all-NBA. I mean, he's been phenomenal. Jalen Suggs has been really, really good. Anthony Black has carved out a spot in this rotation as a 6-man. He hit 2 big corner threes in that game against Indiana as well. And he's been a big connector for this team. Franz Wagner's back. The jumper is there. Again, like the Magic, everybody's playing really, really well. And I thought the Magic probably weren't going to be super crazy. I still thought they were going to be a playoff team. But I wouldn't be surprised if the record kind of stayed the same, I guess. But so far, right now, they look like they're going to be a top team in the Eastern Conference again. You know, like they're playing great basketball. Next, go to the Miami Heat, who are 2-1. Miami came out in the first game against Orlando, did not look good at all. Especially in that second half, they got smoked. But then, now they won the last 2 games. I feel like I still need to see more of them to really give a great analysis of them. You know, I feel like I got to see more because the games have been kind of just like, it's been weird, I don't know. But right now, Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero are leading the charge. It's been those two. It's been the guards. that are leading for them. Tyler Hero has done a great job of shot creating for himself and others. Terry Rozier is hitting his shots, and that's really nice to see those two working together and playing really good. Bam Adebayo is struggling to shoot the ball. I think he's shooting like 36% from the field right now, which I don't really. That's not going to stay the same. Obviously, he's going to get better at some points. Bam Adebayo, but yeah. And then Jimmy Butler, he had a really bad start, but the last two games have been fine. So we got to see where he meets. It's kind of like, I don't know, the Heat. I feel like the first game were really bad. The last two games been good. So we got to find a meet in the middle. So I gotta feel like I've got to lock in more on the Miami Heat to really get a good analysis of them. But so far, I like what the guards have been playing like, and they're 2-1. Another 2-1 team is the LA Clippers. Coming into this year, I did not have high expectations for them, especially considering Kawhi Leonard's not going to play. We don't know when Kawhi is going to play at all. But so far, they've been impressive to me. They really have been. The James Harden effect, really. Like I said a couple times, talking about the Clippers in the offseason, predicting stuff. Like, I don't know how much I love a James Harden-led team in 2024. But so far this year, he's giving you 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists, which is great. The efficiency has not been there. He's shooting 19% from 3. But, I mean, when he's getting everybody else involved like this and hitting the shots that he's been hitting, it's great. It's great to seeing shades of that 2018, 2019 Houston James Harden again. And it's really nice to see him being an engine. But really, I think what's been most impressive about this Clipper team is the play of Ivica Zubac and Norman Powell. Those two have been elite. Norman Powell give you 24 points per game on 40% shooting from 3 on 8 attempts. I mean, he's just been a flamethrower. Every time they need a bucket, Norm, go out there, shoot one, and he gets it. And then Ivica Zubac. Right now, I think if the season were to end, Ivica Zubac might be my MIP. Because he's been absolutely amazing. I mean, he's giving you 22 points and 14 rebounds per game. He's been a monster on the glass, leading the league in rebounding, and then 22 points per game. I mean, he's been a guy where it's like, all right, we don't have anything going. Here, Zoo, get us one. And he's been getting them one. So, wow, that's been really good. Derrick Jones Jr. also has some good moments. Chris Dunn has been solid. So, the Clippers look good, and they're also a really good defense. They're a top 10 defense right now. So, like, actually, no, I think they're top 5 defense, actually, not in top 10, top 5 defense. Like, they've been locking in defensively, and if they can get the production like that from Zoo and Norman Powell, I mean, I don't think they're both going to average that amount of points for the rest of the season. But to see that they're producing and comfortable in this offense, the Clippers might be a lot better than I think. Next, go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are 2-2. There are a lot of 2-2 teams, especially in the West. We're going to start with the Western Conference teams. Minnesota is the first one up. 2-2. Julius Randle has been fitting in. The first game against the Lakers was not encouraging at all, but the last 3 games have been really good. He had that Kings game where he got 35. Last night against Dallas, I think he had a really good game as well. I think he's been fitting in. They've been figuring out how to put him into the offense, and he looks a lot more comfortable with the ball in his hands now with Minnesota. Anthony Edwards has been doing his thing, He had a really good first quarter last night, kind of cooled off near the end of it. And also the rotation, something I noticed. They're only playing 9 people, but the 9th man, Joe Ingles, is only playing like 5 to 8, 9 minutes a game. So they're really running a 8-man rotation in October, which is something. I guess maybe with the acquisition of Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo, they're trying to really incorporate them early on and trying to figure how this is going to work for now so that when they get to it down the stretch, they're going to know how it works. But yeah, guys like Rob Dillingham, Josh Minott, Terrence Shann Jr., Luka Garza haven't even touched the floor yet so far this year, which is very interesting. But I mean, yeah, again, I guess they're just like, trying to figure things out that way. And then defensively, they've been a little shaky. 13th rated defense, which isn't bad, but considering they were the best defense in the league last year, a little bit shaky. But I feel like they're really trying to focus in on trying to get Julius Randle involved in this team. Which I think probably is gonna, put the defense a little bit on the side right now. But I think eventually they're gonna get it together. But yeah, I mean they've been solid. I feel like they played some really good teams. I mean they played the Lakers, they played the Sacramento Kings, they played the Dallas Mavericks last night, and they played one more game. I can't remember who they also beat, but they beat another, I think, really a good team as well. So yeah, Minnesota, they've been solid. 2-2. I think things are looking up from here for them. Next, go to the New Orleans Pelicans, also 2-2. The Pelicans have been probably the most confusing team to me so far this season. Because I don't really know how to Well, they're 2-2. They beat Chicago. They beat Portland. They've also lost to Portland, and they lost to Golden State last night without Steph Curry. Those are two not good losses. Injuries have been a big problem for them already. They didn't have Zion in their first game. DeJounte Murray broke his thumb in the first game. He's going to be out for a little while. They're not going to have Trey Murphy for the first little while of the season as well. So injuries are just a curse on the Pelicans so far. It just feels like they look a step slow. Is the only way I feel like I can describe it right now. I feel like I might have to lock in a little bit more to really figure out what the problem is and why they're not looking great and why they had those two losses. Um, yeah, I mean, offensively, they haven't been shooting the ball super well. And it just feels like also on the offensive end, it feels like they don't really have a system in a sense. It's just kind of like, all right, Bi, you're gonna have the ball now. You're gonna have to create something. Zion, you have the ball now. You're gonna have to create something. You know, and then CJ once in a while, you get the ball, you get to create something too. You know, and then guys like Herb Jones and Daniel Tice and Jordan, they just kind of gotta figure it out, figure out how to get in when they get in. You know, like the good thing is Brandon Ingram has been really good. That's one good thing. Brandon Ingram has been very good to start the season. You also had Zion, didn't have a great start. Last night was really good, so maybe this could be up from here. But Zion also was shooting like 28% from the field to start this season against Portland, which is very odd. But yeah, it just feels like on both sides, defensively they have not been great either. It just feels like they're a step slow on both ends. You know, maybe that's just gonna take time. Maybe that's just gonna be they're just gonna wait to see when DeJounte and Trey Murphy get back. Then maybe they can finally get something going. But right now, it's been. I mean, they're 2-2. They have 2 wins, so it's not like they've been bad. But it's just been like, huh? It's been confusing a little bit for me. Next, the Memphis Grizzlies are also 2-2. The Grizzlies are also dealing with a lot of injuries right now. They missed Jaren for the first 2 games of the season. They still don't have Gigi Jackson, Luke Kennard, and Vince Williams Jr. Three rotational players for them. But the bench has been good. It has been good for what it is. There has been a game or two. I feel like the two losses they do have when the bench wasn't doing much, but the 2 wins they have is when the others were doing much. Santi Aldama, I feel like has been really good. Every time Santi Aldama's led the team in scoring, they've won games, so that's big. Jay Huff is a revelation. He's been playing very good basketball. He's just got awarded with a 4-year contract. Shout out to Jay Huff. Scottie Pippen Jr. has had some good minutes as well. So the bench and the others have been really stepping up. You know, even when John Morant hasn't been shooting the ball super well, he also missed last game against Chicago where they lost that game because the Bulls just started hitting every three imaginable. But Ja has been playmaking. Desmond Bain has been solid. You know, Jaren, really, looks like they're gonna try to like slowly integrate him back into this team, which also is a big thing with the defense. The defense has not been great. I think they're like in the 20s in terms of defensive rating. But again, I think that's gonna figure itself out when Jaren Jackson really gets let loose. I think they're gonna be a lot better, you know. But yeah, I mean they've been solid. You know, the bench, the others have been good. When the others step up and play well, the Grizzlies are gonna win games. That's what it seems so far. When guys like Santi Aldama and Jay Huff and Scottie Pippen Jr. are, you know, playing good, then they're gonna be good. Because if you can't stop John Desmond Bain, then if the others are playing good, then it's like, dang, how do I really stop this team? Next, going to the Houston Rockets, also 2-2. Jalen Green has been great to start this season. He's averaging almost 29 points per game. He's one of the top scorers in the league right now. And yeah, he's kind of continuing from that second half of the season last year, coming into this year. He's been shooting the three ball, which is very encouraging. The playmaking and stuff has been small strides here and there. Hasn't been amazing. Still has a lot to work on, but it's been there, especially with he found Fred VanVleet for that dagger three against San Antonio. He's been very good. They're also playing a young rotation. Like Jeff Green does not play with this team. He has not stepped on the court yet. It's been Cam Whitmore getting those minutes, which has been really good. Amen Thompson is their sixth man. Reed Shepard's has some solid moments. Tari Eason has been good. So you're getting a lot of all the young guys playing, which I love. They're playing really good. The only thing that they need to do is they need to learn how to win games and close out games, which they're young. It's going to take some time. But I feel like, the Charlotte game, opening day, they had it and they just couldn't close out. The San Antonio game that they also lost, another game where they just couldn't really close out. So they just need to get better in terms of in the clutch, getting buckets, in the clutch and performing in the clutch. But besides that, I've liked what I've seen from Houston. They're going to be a very, very fun team to watch. Next, going to the Denver Nuggets, are also 2-2. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with this Denver Nugget team. Um, where do I even start? Um, they have not looked good at all this season. Lost to OKC opening night, lost to the Clippers, needed overtime to beat Toronto and Brooklyn. things have not been great for the Nuggets team. We knew coming into the season that, things are going to be different with no KCP, relying on a lot more young guys like Christian Brown, Payne Watson, Julian Strother to really kind of help this team win a championship, which is going to be tough. But it's been there's been a lot more problems than that so far this season. Again, they need overtime to win games, I guess. So I guess the Denver Nuggets, the key to winning is just go to overtime, and then they're gonna win eventually there. Nikola Jokic has been great. Not much to say about Nikola Jokic. He's been phenomenal. He's literally had to do everything for this team. And right now, scoring title. I wrote in my notes for the Nuggets. Jokic scoring title, maybe. He's had to drop 40 to win. You know, so maybe if he wins a scoring title, and maybe if he has this type of season, he might win another MVP. But that's not the conversation right now. But besides Jokic, no one else can really do much on this team. Jamal Murray has not been Jamal Murray. I don't know what happened, but Jamal Murray just does not look good right now. He just looks like he lost a step, really. I mean, last year in the playoffs we saw it, where he didn't really look good until he had a couple game winners on the Lakers. Olympic run was not good, and right now, it's not looking good for Jamal Murray. He just the confidence isn't there, the shot isn't there. He just doesn't look like Jamal Murray that we know he can be, and that's a huge reason why this Nuggets team has not been good. Michael Porter Jr. also has been missing a lot of shots early on. He hit some shots last night against Brooklyn, so maybe that can get him going. But yeah, Aaron Gordon, we already know he's not going to shoot the ball like that. We know what he's there for, not for 3-point shooting or anything like that. Even though he did hit a big three in overtime last night. Was it overtime or was it regulation? I don't remember which one, but he hit a big three last night. And then Christian Brown, he hit a dagger. He hit the dagger last night against Brooklyn. But Christian Brown, if Christian Brown was to shoot 7 or 8 threes, go ahead. Teams are gonna let Christian Brown shoot, and he doesn't shoot all the time. There's a lot of times when he's open, he looks at it and then he just passes it up or doesn't, which really affects the team. You know, it sucks though because he does so many other things good. Like defensively, he tries. He brings a lot of energy and hustle, um, all around the court. It's just the one thing he can't do is the biggest thing that they need for him to do, which is shoot the ball. And then the bench is terrible. When Nikola Jokic comes out of the game, they lose all the time. When Nikola Jokic comes out of the game, they can't get anything going. Russell Westbrook had a really good game last night, 22 points, but he has not been great, and they're not really using him very like they probably should be using him. Julian Strother, this is really his first time getting real opportunity, and I'm a big fan of Julian Strother, but right now, it just hasn't been, you can't rely on him to really give you 12, 14 points or anything like that. Payne Watson is a great defender, gets a lot of blocks, but offensively just isn't there right now. Dario Saric has not been good at all, and it's just like, man, this team has not been good. Fortunately, there are two. Thanks to Nikola Jokic and overtime, they are 2-2, but it is not. It's not a good 2-2. It's a very bad 2-2 right now, and it just needs something to happen. You know, I think Jamal Murray finding his groove back and Michael Porter Jr. hitting shots does a lot to this team. That makes his team that makes probably some of the problems a whole lot smaller and lessened. If Jamal Murray's playing like an all-star, Michael Porter Jr. is hitting the shots that we know Michael Porter Jr. can hit. But right now, things just are not looking good for the Nuggets, and they're gonna have to figure something out pretty fast. Next, the Sacramento Kings are also 2-2, and the King. I was very high on the Kings coming into the season. Maybe not standings wise or anything like that, but I thought the Kings are gonna be. I really like this Kings roster. I really do, and so far they've been solid at 2-2. They've had some good moments, but what I kind of expected coming to the season and what I've seen from this season is that they're going to be middle of the pack. Meaning, when they played against the Lakers and lost. They played against the Timberwolves and lost. They played against the Blazers and won. They played against the Jazz and won. So their their offense is so good. They've been a really good offensive team. Aaron's been good. Demonis Sabonis had a really good game last night. Like DeMar DeRozan's been fitting in well. Keegan Murray's been playing really good as well. Like there's some good things. Kevin Herter, I don't know if he should be a starter on this team. Malik Monk has been solid. I mean, he did have a great game last night, but it didn't matter. But their offense is good. That they're gonna beat a lot of bad teams. The teams like the Blazers, the teams like the Jazz, they're gonna blow them out because offensively it's just too much power for them. The defense, which statistically it doesn't look bad. I think they're like middle of the pack, which is good. But when it comes to when they desperately need a stop, they haven't been able to get it so far. Against the Lakers, They needed a stop in the fourth quarter. They couldn't get it. Against the Wolves, they needed some stops in the fourth quarter. Couldn't get them. And while they do have a high-powered offense, when you're also playing a team like the Lakers and the Timberwolves, who also have guys that can go off and give you 30 and 35, and also are going to execute late, you need stops, and they just haven't been able to get them. Which I understood coming into the season. I understood that was what's going to be the thing. They're just going to have to try. Their game plan is we're just going to try to outscore you and hit more clutch shots than you, and that's how we're going to win games. And so far, it hasn't been that. Which means, I mean, they're just going to be middle of the pack. Like I project them to be an 8 seed. That's just where they are right now, because they're not great enough defensively or anything like that to be a top tier team, but they're also too good to be a bad team. It's just going to be middle of the pack, which I think is okay for them. Getting back to the playoffs, I think that's a big goal for them this season. Next, the Chicago Bulls are 2-2, and the Bulls are elite shooters right now. The Bulls are second in 3-point attempts per game this year, and third in makes per game, which is literally the exact opposite of what they have been. They are letting it fly from three, and it's been working. I mean, the 2 games they won, they beat the Bucks because they hit 22 threes. They beat the Grizzlies the other night because they hit like 23 or 25 threes or something like that. Like they've been shooting lights out from three so far. And they're also number one in pace. So they're a team that shoots a lot of threes and are going to be a fast-paced team. Are the Chicago Bulls fun? Maybe. The Bulls might be a fun, bad team. And I think that's progress. That is big progress for them. Also, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic have been good. Well, I understood Zach LaVine was probably going to be good this year, but Vucevic also has had good moments, you know? Kobe White's had some big moments here and there. Jalen Smith's been playing some decent minutes. So, yeah, if the Bulls are going to be a young, fun team that shoots a lot of threes and are going to be fast, then sign me up. I'm going to be watching then. Next, the Atlanta Hawks are also 2-2. Trae Young has been great to start this year. He had a bad shooting night against the Thunder. Bad night there. But besides that, he's played like an All-NBA type of guy. He's been really good. I mean, it's back to just Trae being the guy and everyone else just trying to fitting in around him. And it's been great so far for Trae Young's side. And then the young guys. I've been very impressed with this young Hawks team. You know, like Dyson Daniels has been perfect next to Trae Young. I mean, he's shooting, I think 35% from three. He's averaging almost 3 steals a game. He's been hitting big shots when he needed to. He's been bringing a lot of energy over there. And he's been perfect next to Trae Young. Kongwu has had an amazing start to the season as well. Clint Capella's job. Clint Capella might be on the market pretty soon. You know, Jalen Johnson, even though he hasn't shot the ball super well, he's been doing a lot of other things well. DeAndre Hunter has had some good moments. Like the Hawks, the young guys on the Hawks have been doing their thing. You know, and pretty soon it might come down to just having all a big young rotation. I mean, Landry Fields says something in the offseason where it's like they've been experimenting with a lineup of having a lineup of everybody under 25. And if that's what the rotation's going to look like, if they're playing like this, sign me up. Sign me up for them. I'm here for it. I'm here to watch Trae Young and a bunch of young dudes just run around and do that all day because it's been working. Next, go to some 1-2 teams. The Washington Wizards are 1-2. There has been some good things I've liked about the Washington Wizards this season so far. First of all, Jordan Poole might be back. Jordan Poole so far through 3 games has been pretty good. He's given you 22 points, 5 assists, leading the league in steals, shooting 51, 61, 100. He hit a big dagger 3 against Atlanta, came out against Boston, had 17 in the first quarter. He was efficient against the Cavaliers. So Jordan Poole, honestly, this is the most comfortable and confident I've seen him look since the 2022 championship run. He's been shooting the lights out. He's been really good. He's been locked in defensively, getting a lot of steals. Like, Jordan Poole might be back. And if he's back, then that makes this team a whole lot more fun to watch. Also, I really like what I've seen from Bilal Coulibaly, too. He's gotten a lot more opportunity this year, the ball a lot more in his hands, putting the ball on the floor a lot more, getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line. Defensively, he's been really good. So, yeah, the Wizards are really trying to build him up to be one of the core pieces of the future, and Bilal has been doing his thing. Alex Sarr, the number 2 pick, has been struggling a little bit. We already know offensively he was going to be a work in progress, you know, and that's what it's been so far. But, yeah, I mean, Jordan Poole, Bilal Coulibaly have been bright things for the Wizards team, and Corey Kispert as well. Corey Kispert's a really good player. Kyle Kuzma he had a really good game against Atlanta, shooting the ball, so maybe his efficiency's back. First 2 games were not great. But, yeah, I mean, if I'm watching the Jordan Poole show, I don't mind it. I don't mind it too much. The Charlotte Hornets are also 1-2. LaMelo Ball is back, and he's showing everybody that when he's healthy, when he plays, He's a star. That's what he is. Has to cut it down on the fouls and turnovers. He had the two losses. He had a lot of fouls and a lot of turnovers. Got to cut down on that. Besides that, he's been electric to start this year. And I've liked watching the Hornets play. Like, the only tough thing is that Brandon Miller hasn't been able to play really this year, which really sucks for them. But besides that, I mean, Trey Mann has been really good off the bench. Some of the guys like Seth Curry, Grant Williams have been running some really good minutes. Really is just their big man play is questionable. Nick Richards is solid, but he's not a starting center, I don't think. Moussa Diabate is getting minutes. That's all I got to say about that. They need Mark Williams back. Really, they need Mark Williams to be out there playing. But besides that, I mean, the Hornets have been good. I mean, the two losses they do have are not bad losses. They just, you know, the Hawks, Trey Young, outdueled LaMelo, and LaMelo fouled out early. Then it's I forgot who the Hornets, I think the Heat. They lost to the Heat, I think. Just lost to a better team. Like, the Hornets, I don't mind watching the Hornets this year. They've been really good, for me, at least. Better than the last couple of years. So we just really need LaMelo to stay healthy, man. Praying that LaMelo stays healthy. Next, we go to some 1-3 teams. The New York Knicks are 1-2. My bad. Last 1-2 team, the New York Knicks. Actually, last two teams that are 1-2, the Knicks and Sixers. We'll go with the Knicks. Sorry, my bad. The Knicks are 1-2, but it hasn't been a bad 1-2. Really, it's just circumstances. Against Boston, they actually played a pretty solid offensive game. It's just the Celtics hit 33s, almost 33s. Against the Cavaliers, Darius Garland turned up in the fourth quarter and beat them. The fourth quarter was not great for the Knicks. But besides that, I'm not worried about New York. They do need to shoot the three ball a lot more. They've not been shooting the three balls a lot. They need to shoot the three ball more. Karl-Anthony Towns has been shooting the three ball. He's been a lot more in the post and a little bit passive. He took 8 shots, I think, in that Cavs game. So he's got to be more aggressive shooting the ball. But besides that, Mikal Bridges, I feel like his jumper has been found. Jalen Brunson's been good. Josh Hart has found himself a little bit. The bench has been solid. So it's like, I'm not really worried about the Knicks if I'm 1-2. Not worried at all about this team. The final 1-2 team, the Philadelphia 76ers. It's been really tough to really evaluate them because they have not had Paul George and Joel Embiid for a while, and I thought that Paul George was coming back tonight. Looks like he's not going to come back tonight. It's been injury. I mean, no Paul George and Joel. And the additions that they brought in, guys like, the guys that they brought in as additions, Andre Drummond's been good. But besides that, have not really been playing as well as expected. It's been the Tyrese Maxey show. I mean, Tyrese Maxey's literally had to take 30 shots a game for them, Like, they got destroyed by the Bucks. Bad loss to the Raptors. They did beat the Pacers in overtime. Takes the Tyrese Maxey dropping 45. But it's been tough for the Sixers. And they're going to need PG and Joel back soon. Because if they fall behind in this Eastern Conference, it's going to be a little bit tough to climb back. So it's been tough to really evaluate them. They just need those two to come back. Or at least one of them to come back. One more 1-2 team. My bad. I don't know why I'm misreading. One more 1-2 team. It's the San Antonio Spurs. Really, they need Wemby to be better. In the 2 games that they've lost, Wemby has not shot the ball well. In the 1 game they won, Wemby did shoot the ball well. So Wemby just needs to shoot the ball well. There's been a lot of jump shots for Wemby. He hasn't really been super aggressive in terms of going to the paint or anything. He just needs to be better overall there. The media is really ready to already crown Wemby. Give Wemby the crown. But at the end of the day, this is a 20-year-old big coming into his second season. So we just got to be patient with Wemby and really, get him. And really needs to get going. But besides that, I mean, Jeremy Sohan has been really good. I like what I see from Jeremy Sohan. Chris Paul's been doing Chris Paul things. The bench has been, Stephon Castle has had some good minutes. No Devin Vassell, unfortunately. But yeah, honestly, the Spurs legitimately could be 3-0 or 2-1 if Wemby just shows up and plays better. Like, Wemby hits a couple more shots in the Dallas game, they probably win. The comeback against Houston, if Wemby hits a couple more shots, they could potentially be 2-1, maybe even 3-0. But Wemby just needs to be better. Now we're getting to the 1-3 teams. 1-3 teams that are kind of reeling right now. The Indiana Pacers, the first one, they're 1-3. Tyrese Halliburton, I feel like, has really been the big problem. He's been really slow. He has not had a good start to the season. So far in his first 4 games, he's averaging 14 points and 5 assists, 34, 26, 63 shooting splits. Yeah, Halliburton just needs to be better shooting the ball. And I feel like Halliburton being better and finding a shot makes the Pacers a whole lot better. Because Halliburton is literally the engine to this offense. He's the one that gets everybody else involved. So if Tyrese Halliburton is not shooting the ball, then it's like, all right, well, he's not a threat. Because now it's like he's going to try to pass. He's going to become predictable. So that means Andrew Nemhart's not going to get his shots. That means Aaron Neesmith's not going to get his shots. That means Miles Turner's not going to get his threes. So that means a lot of other people on this team don't get shots, which is okay. You know? So Halliburton really needs to find his shot. I feel like this entire team just needs to be a lot more aggressive. Like the offense, right now, they have a better defensive rating than offensive rating. That's not the Indiana Pacers I know. They just need more aggressive. Pascal Siakam is taking less, like only one less shot than Tyrese Halliburton. Like I think Pascal Siakam needs to be a lot more aggressive. That Sixer game really frustrated me a little bit with Pascal because he had Eric Gordon guarding him, and he was just not taking advantage at all. Andrew Nemhart hasn't really been super on it offensively as well. And the only guys I feel like have been aggressive are Miles Turner and Bending Mathurin. Besides that, no one else has really been taking it to him on the offensive end. And I just feel like they need to be better than that. And a lot of that I feel like starts with Tyrese Halliburton finding his shot and starting knocking down some shots because that opens up so much more for everybody around him. Next, go to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are also 1-3. Got a lot to say about this Bucks team right now. Bad losses. Lost to Chicago, lost to Brooklyn, and then lost to Boston. The only team they beat was a banged-up 76er team. But the Bucks right now, things are not looking good at all over there in Milwaukee. The defense is bad. I think they're, the 25th rated defense, I think, or something like that. Defense has been bad. They're just been letting threes up left and right. Just teams just shooting threes, hitting threes, taking threes whenever they want, left and right, all over the place for this team, number one. Number two, it just feels like if Giannis and Dame aren't doing anything, or if Giannis and Dame don't have the ball, then nothing happens for this Bucks team. I mean, those two have been really good. Dame and Giannis have been balling. They've been doing their thing. They've been doing their part. But it just feels like no one else on this team can do anything. If Giannis and Dame don't have the ball, or aren't making anything happen, aren't making everything happen, then no one else is doing anything. Like statistically, Bobby Portis has been solid. Gary Trent Jr., But if you really watch it, it's like, dang. Like, literally no one else can do anything without Giannis and Dame. Like, literally, it's like, all right, Dame's going to have to come off screens. We're just going to wait for Dame to come off screens. Giannis, we're just going to force feed him the ball in the paint. And we're just going to wait around and see if he passes us the ball. Like, that's really, like, this, it looks bad. It looks bad right now in Milwaukee. They don't have Giannis even said they don't have an identity. They don't have anything to lean on besides Giannis and Dame combined for 65 points. Even then, Giannis and Dame combined for 63 and they lost to Boston. Just dominated by Boston. Like, no one on this team can do anything besides Giannis and Dame. And right now, again, we're overreacting to the first week of the season. Right now, they're not contenders. This team that I'm watching is not a contender right now. They're going to win games because Giannis and Dame are amazing. But in terms of winning a championship, which is this team's goal is to win a championship. It's not to make a conference finals appearance or anything. It's to win an NBA championship. They're not nowhere near that right now. There's a lot of teams I'm taking over them if this is the way they're going to be playing. So they got to make stuff up and figure stuff out really fast. Next, go to the Raptors, who are 1-3. I'm excited for the Raptors coming into this season because interested to see Scotty, RJ, IQ, and all of them, but they haven't played. Injuries have been really killing the Raptors. Scotty Barnes now is going to be out. He missed that Denver game, which they probably could have won that Denver game if Scotty Barnes doesn't go out. Just got it before this video that he's going to be out for a couple weeks due to an orbital fracture, which really, really sucks. RJ Barrett did not play the first couple games of the season, played the other game and was solid. Emmanuel quickly hasn't played yet. Well, he's played the first half of the first game until he got hurt. So it's just tough. And honestly, I'm sorry. If they're not playing, I'm not watching this team. I'm not watching Davion Mitchell, Jakob Poeltl, and Jameson battle. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not watching that. One good thing, though, they could say is Grady Dick. Grady Dick has looked good. There's been some good moments for him, But besides that, it's just like, I'm not really going to watch this team. I'm sorry. Next, go to the Brooklyn Nets. They're also 1-3. The Brooklyn Nets are a high-powered offense, I guess. They're top 5 in scoring. They're top 10. They have a top 10 offensive rating. So are the Nets going to be a team that gets a lot of points? That's not something I expected, but hey, that's what we're happening so far. Cam Thomas is getting buckets. Cam Thomas averaging almost 30 a game. He's been absolutely balling out. Hitting big shot. He had a big shot against the Nuggets last night. Unfortunately, they lost that game in overtime. But Cam Thomas had a back-to-back huge buckets in the fourth quarter. Dennis Schroeder also has been playing very, very well, getting that trade value up. He's been phenomenal, especially the last two games against Milwaukee and Denver. He's been absolutely amazing. Nick Claxton is coming off the bench, which I said when I talked about first impressions of teams. I don't know how I feel about that still. But I mean, he had a good game last night against Denver, so maybe that could be better. But I don't know how I feel about Nick Claxton coming off the bench. Zion Williams is giving some good minutes. Jalen Wilson should play more. And yeah, that's really it. You know, the Nets, if they're gonna be a high. I mean, I watched the only reason I watched the Nets is for Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas go off and get a couple buckets. And if they're gonna be a high scoring offense, then hey, that's cool. The last 1-3 team is the Portland Trailblazers. 1-3. I expect them to be very bad coming into this year. And they've been bad. I mean, they have a win. They have a win against the Pelicans. But yeah, things don't look great, which not expected to. Jeremy Grant has been good. Jeremy Grant's had some good moments. Anthony Simons hit some shots here and there. DeAndre Ayton's been decent, I guess. The defense is okay. They're like the 14th rated defense, I think. Some of the young guys have been playing good. You know, Tamon Kamara's a starter. He's been good. Donovan Clingan. I want some more Donovan Clingan minutes. He's been good in his time. Scoot Henderson, very polarizing because he does have some good moments, but he still is not efficient. Still turns the ball over a lot. Still has a lot of fouls. But he's been scoring and passing. Looks better. So I don't really know. I still a lot more to gauge on Scoot Henderson. You know, but yeah, Portland, not gonna be good this year. And the first 4 games didn't change any of that. Next, go to the last 2 teams are 2 winless teams. The Utah Jazz are 0-3. They are very bad. Like, honestly, kind of even worse than I thought. The Utah Jazz. Lauri Markkanen is really good. Lauri Markkanen, really good. Everything else, not good at all. Also, praying up to Taylor Hendricks. You know, that was a very scary, very tough injury to have to deal with. Hoping that he can make a full recovery and come back better than ever when he does come back. That was a really tough situation to watch the other day. Walker Kessler might have a resurgence. He's been very good so far the first couple games. So maybe Walker Kessler's back. Bring that trade value up potentially, I guess. But yeah, after that, it's been bad for Utah. And they're playing a lot of young guys, which I'm expecting them to not be super good right off the bat. So yeah, Utah could be bad, besides Lauri Markkanen. And the last team is the Detroit Pistons, who are 0-4. Quick 0-4. I'm not a Detroit Piston fan. I'm a Cavalier fan. So I'm not a Piston fan. But I feel like a Piston fan, man. I'm gonna feel like a Piston fan in these last couple of minutes, because man, they do not play like an 0-4 team. They're getting so they're not an 0-4 team. They have not been playing like that. The only reason they're 0-4 is because they cannot close out games to save their lives. The last 2 and 3 minutes of every quarter, I feel like they've lost, and that's how they're losing games. Like, they're the only game that they got straight up beat in, the Cleveland game. But besides that, they gave Boston their best shot. You know, Indiana, they literally had the lead for like 90% of that game. Miami, it was very close the entirety of the game. It's just the last couple minutes of the game they cannot close out. You know, and they're young. They won 14 games last year. They're gonna have to learn how to win. But it really, really sucks because I feel like they've been playing so much better than their records at. They're playing like a 2-2 team, not a 0-4 team. To me, Kate Cunningham's having an amazing season. I mean, Kate Cunningham, his numbers have been just amazing. I mean, he's giving you 26.5 points, almost 6 rebounds, 7.5 assists, a steal, and a block on 48, 37, 80 shooting. That's amazing. Jaden Ivey's giving you 20 points per game. You know, guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley have been doing well. Jalen Duren's doing his thing. It's just they just can't close out games and win them. It really sucks. It really does suck. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.